This is the cheapest rookie running backs have ever been. I just updated my own rankings. I had, I believe, the first 8 wide receivers in this rookie class ranked ahead of the running back position, which is crazy. I really can't ever remember seeing a class like this, except my first year where we started playing Dynasty Fantasy Football, which was way back in 2014, 10 years ago at this point, ladies and gentlemen. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to see, is this something that I'm just making up? Am I imagining how bad this class is? Or does the data prove it? And is this the worst running back class that we have seen over the past 10 years? Now, of course, I can't sit here and say, oh, look at my rankings over on flockfantasy.com. Look at how low I have these running backs. That's how bad they are. My opinion is just a random opinion on the internet. Of course, I'm not the final judge on how bad this class is overall. I wanted an objective stance of where we could compare apples to apples with these running backs. And lucky for us, we already have 2024 ADP out. You head over to Underdog, there have been tens of thousands of dollars already drafted of these teams, if not over $100,000 at this point. And we can look at the updated ADP for where running backs are going in 2024. We can cross-reference this for every draft class that we've had over the past decade. There are some very strong takeaways that we can have. I think that there are clear targets at these price points at the running back position we'll talk about at the end of this video. But just let me illustrate exactly how cheap these rookie running backs are currently. Now, going and looking at Underdog ADP, there are essentially, I want to say, 2 groups of guys. You have the big 3 right now, and I'm going to quote unquote call them the big 3 because really they're the little 3, right? You have Jonathan Brooks, Blake Corum, and Trey Benson being drafted as the RB 39, RB 40, and RB 42. These are the top running backs in the class currently. I mean, this is essentially how I'm ranking these guys in Dynasty rookie drafts as well. This is my top 3. A lot of this may change once we get to the NFL Combine. We'll talk about that at the end of the video. But nonetheless, these guys are being drafted alongside like Zamir White, Jerome Ford, Khalil Herbert, Kondre Miller. And of course, this is for 2024 drafts, right? This isn't necessarily how you value them in Dynasty. Everybody understands that in Dynasty, the rookie is going to be worth more, but we're just trying to come up with some realistic expectations year 1. And then after that, you have some guys that I want to believe in my mind are deeper dart throws like Bucky Irving, Allen, Audric, Marshawn, Ray Davis, Will Shipley. I mean, these guys are going anywhere from RB 65 to essentially RB 46. I kind of view that as a separate tier down than what you have with the big 3. But what's surprising is, I mean, the big 3 is coming at such a big discount anyway that they are all kind of squished together in the same range of ADP. There's not a big gap between this entire class currently. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to see in previous classes how many running backs in redraft leagues were being drafted before the mark of RB 39. Because right now, Jonathan Brooks in the 2024 class is that top guy at RB 39. And then we have a couple guys behind him in the early 40s. This past year, 2023, Bijan, Gibbs, Charbonnet, all above RB 39. 2022, you had Breece Hall, Dameon Pierce, James Cook, Kenneth Walker. 2021, Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, Javonte, Trey Sermon, Michael Carter. 2020, you had CEH, Jonathan Taylor, Cam Akers, Swift, Dobbins, Zach Moss. 2019, you had Montgomery, Jacobs, Sanders, Pollard, Singletary. 18, you had Barkley, Freeman, Carrion, Sony, Rashad Penny. 2017, CMC, Leonard Fournette, Dalvin, Joe Mixon. 2016, you had Zeke and Derrick Henry. 2015, you had Amir Abdullah, Melvin Gordon, Todd Gurley, TJ Yeldon, Tevin Coleman. 2014, Bishop Sankey, and Carlos Hyde. Now, I want to stick with this 2014 class because this is what initially scared me from all of these running backs in this year. And that if y'all go back to 2014, keep in mind, this was my first year playing Dynasty. So if I'm misremembering this just a bit, give me the benefit of the doubt and feel free to correct me down in the comment section. But 2014 goes down in history as my favorite wide receiver draft class of all time. This is a year where you have Sammy Watkins coming out. I mean, if y'all don't remember, Sammy Watkins was an absurd talent coming out of Clemson. You had Mike Evans. You had Odell Beckham Jr. You had Brandon Cooks. You had Allen Robinson. There are more players that we could keep on mentioning. I mean, but the wide receiver position was just absurdly loaded. You contrast this with running back. Running back, you're sitting with Bishop Sankey, Carlos Hyde, Jeremy Hill, Devonta Freeman, Terrence West. Now, of course, we can say, oh, Carlos Hyde, great career. Oh, Devonta Freeman, a great career. I mean, but if you looked at these guys coming out of school, maybe you could be a little bit excited about Carlos Hyde. Freeman wasn't necessarily exciting. These were not strong prospects at the running back position. But what ended up happening is you ended up seeing Bishop Sankey go ahead of some elite level wide receiver prospects just because there was nobody else at running back. If you were in your dynasty rookie draft, you looked around and there was a team sitting there at the 107 that said, okay, well, you know what? I just need a running back. I don't really have the choice. I'm going to take Bishop Sankey over Brandon Cooks. I'm going to take Bishop Sankey over Odell Beckham Jr. And obviously, hindsight being 2020, that was a horrendous decision. But even at the time, it didn't seem good. Even at the time, it was a spot where you were seeing someone reach on team need, taking a worse prospect just because they wanted a running back. Now, what I am happy to see both in the YouTube comment section, in the flogfantasy.com Discord, and with everybody's rankings over on flogfantasy.com, nobody's really making that mistake again. Like, you look at my rankings, I don't have a running back going off the board until the second round of Superflex rookie drafts currently. Look at the rankings of Avery over the Dynasty domain, pretty much has the same thing. And you are getting a great sense of, no, people aren't going to be pushing these running backs up. So while, yes, this may be a worse class overall, there are actually some guys we can be targeting at a decent price point, and maybe we can hit on a Carlos Hyde in the second round and we'd be running the bank laughing. So we will talk about that in just one second. But of course, if you are not already a member of the Flock and checking out our Dynasty rankings on flogfantasy.com, I would highly recommend you do that. Also, the Dynasty domain guys, the Dynasty Land Football guys have both put out incredible Dynasty rookie draft guides already for y'all over there on the site. We are working on getting y'all another prospect evaluating tool that I'm really excited about. But if y'all want to check out anything over on flogfantasy.com, you can find that link in the description, find in the comment section. Code FLOCK, you'll get 30% off any subscription. Plus, with code FLOCK, yours truly will break down your Dynasty Fantasy Football team in a podcast. Plus, you'll get access to the Dynasty Trade Calculator, Dynasty Trade Find, the whole 9 yards, ladies and gentlemen. But nonetheless, the first takeaway that I have from this data, before we even transition over to Dynasty, is if you are in an underdog draft right now, if you are drafting a redraft team, especially these underdog tournaments where there's an absurd amount of money at the very top, you need to be taking swings on running backs. While yes, these guys may fall down. While yes, Blake Corum may get to the NFL Combine and he may be underwhelming. Maybe he's worse than we expect. Or maybe Trey Benson gets there and he doesn't have the top end speed as advertised. There are probably some guys that are going to fall after the NFL Combine. You go back to what we had in 2022. Keep in mind, Isaiah Spiller had a lot of buzz from yours truly as well going into the Combine. Then once the Combine happens, you realize immediately, okay, this guy doesn't have it. We are not excited about him at running back. So yes, if you are investing in a rookie running back right now in underdog basketball drafts, understand it is risky. They may fall. But there is that other end of the spectrum where they may crush the Combine. They may end up going like top 40, top 50 picks of the NFL draft. And all of a sudden you take a running back at RB40, RB41 behind Zamir White that looks to actually be a starter in the second half of the season that has juice and can make big plays. So I would say right now, from a risk-adjusted perspective, taking a swing on some of these rookie running backs late in best ball tournaments when all the money's for the upside and you don't really care about the floor, that is something that I think is very advantageous, and I'd recommend specifically targeting the big three players. This is going to carry us over to what we are looking at in Dynasty rookie drafts as well, where I understand that we can sit here and we can say there's a lot of hype for someone like Braylon Allen. I mean, where you have some positives on your profile, some negatives. And I completely understand the thought process of people going out there and talking themselves into this guy being a discount running back if you're comparing him to maybe Jonathan Brooks. But while I would agree and I would see where people are coming from chasing after the sleeper running back in this draft, I would say if the big three guys, such as Trey Benson, Jonathan Brooks, I mean, as well as Blake Corum, if they are going to be devalued as well, I don't necessarily know if this is the year where I want to be trying to find I don't know how we want to word this without people getting upset with us. I don't want to go dumpster diving for running backs, trying to find the guy in the third round that maybe has a little bit of a better profile than what you'd expect. Instead, if I'm going to take a running back, I would rather just take Jonathan Brooks in the second round if he is going to get devalued to that point. Now, of course, that's when we're looking at ADP right now. Once we get to NFL draft time, once we get to rookie draft time, and we end up seeing the 2014 situation where you have Jonathan Brooks, maybe Bishop Sankey, Tomato, who really cares, but the running back one in a weak class. If he ends up getting steamed to be a mid-round one dynasty rookie pick just because he's the top running back, then yeah, you shouldn't be going after that guy. Instead, you should be waiting into the third round, and you should be trying to find Devonta Freeman. You should be trying to find Jeremy Hill. You should be trying to find Carlos Hyde maybe in the second. So if these running backs at the top get steamed up to that point, I agree. I think that you can definitely find some value and definitely find some interesting players down here, such as Braylon Allen, maybe if you want to go really deep, Will Shipley, Ray Davis, whoever you are looking at. But if it stands currently, I think I would rather just take my shots on the big three. But I do want to remind y'all what we are looking at for the NFL Combine. We want to A, confirm that these running backs have the size to be 3-down players. B, we want to also be looking at their relative speed scores. Now, this is something that doesn't necessarily matter at wide receiver. Wide receiver production is going to be significantly more predictive of fantasy football success at the next level. But running back, historically speaking, unless your name is Kyron Williams, you do need to have some speed. You need to have some size. Or if you are lacking in one or the other, you need to be elite in that other category. So the perfect example of that is if one of these running backs gets to the combine and they end up coming in as small as what you had with Devon Achane. Well, you can be that small, but you also need to be an elite level athlete and post one of the best 40-yard dash times there. Or vice versa, if you are an extremely slow player and you run slower than a 4.60, we can't have you weighing 195 pounds. The only guy that we've ever seen be both small and slow at the NFL Combine to find success in fantasy football, and I mean the only player, at least dating back to like 2010, so the past 15 years, looking at hundreds and hundreds of rookie running backs, is Kyron Williams. And yes, we can sit here and we can chase the absurd outlier. Just like if you want to try to chase an outlier, find the next Tom Brady with whatever quarterback gets drafted in round 6. Probably ain't happening, ladies and gentlemen. But I hope this helps you out. I will, of course, be diving much deeper into these rookie running backs as we get more information, especially right after the NFL Combine, which is in about 2 weeks. And if you play Dynasty, make sure, subscribe, hit that like button. And if you are not a member of the flock already, go to the link in the description, go to the link in the comment section. Code FLOCK will get you 30% off any subscription of flockfantasy.com. Code FLOCK's also going to get you a free week trial. Yours truly will break down your Dynasty Fantasy Football team in a podcast. And of course, you can check out all my Dynasty rankings there, our Dynasty trade calculator there, all the premium content of all your people that you watch on YouTube. But I think that's all I have for you. Really do appreciate you. Really hope you have a great day and really hope we get to see you out in a live stream sometime soon.